going on, Jerome's? So last night in the wild card game, Rams tight end Tyler Higbee was unfortunately taken out late in the game, especially when the Rams were driving. Bit of a momentum killer as the pass-catching tight end had his knee blown out by Kerby Joseph. Of course, we Vikings fans are very familiar with him from taking out former Lion TJ Hockenson's knee a fistful of weeks ago in a very similar play. You know, the large tight end coming over the middle, eensy-weensy, teeny-weeny defensive back has to go low and do what they can, and knees get blown out, ligaments all shredded, and better luck next year. Well, probably not even starting next year since it's so late. You'll probably end up on the PUP list to start things out, and blah, blah, blah. Now, initially, you know, the vitriol for Kerby was certainly there. He's been a habitual line stepper. And also remember, in this game where he shredded Hockenson's knee, he also went headhunting on Justin freaking Jefferson. So Kerby doesn't just go low. He also goes for the head as well. Now, I fully understand that Lions fans are going to be in the comments, oh, just have him play 200, touch, you're soft, or cry, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's why I actually paused from making this video and just waited a little bit. Just wanted the emotions to drop down a little bit, because initially when I saw it right away, it's like the dude did it again. And the thing about it is that Kerby Joseph did not get fined. He did not get flagged for either this hit on Hockenson or the hit on Justin Jefferson or this hit on Tyler Higbee. Well, TBD if he's going to be fined here. I don't see him suspended. But at a certain point, on one hand, you have to accept, yes, it's a contact sport and guys get hurt. But if it's a very similar situation and it's a repeat offender over and over and over again, you have to take a look at it. And the NFLPA should eventually step in and like, hey, one of our constituents is hurting all other of our constituents repeatedly. It's what happened with Kareem Jackson. And I know a lot of people will say, it's like, whoa, that's the way the DBs have to hit nowadays. Fully understand that. Fully get it. But how come it's Joseph repeatedly over and over and over again tearing up these dudes' ACLs when other safeties, they just made the tackle? So again, just want to play devil's avocado on a couple of these things. So here's what we came up with. So what was Kerby Joseph dirty in these spots? Again, it's hard to play defensive back because you can't hit him up high because helmet to helmet. And even if you try to hit him with your shoulder, square in the chest, I mean, sometimes they're going to call that too. So again, I commiserate. And watching the Vikings safeties, Harrison Smith, over the years, Harrison Smith was known as a tough physical player. I don't think he's ever seen as dirty. So there certainly is a line where you can be tough and physical and intimidating on the back end, and then there's dirty. And I think this crosses over into the latter. And like I said, the rules say that you can't hit high. So what do players do? They try to go as low as possible. But Collinsworth alluded to this on the broadcast, and it's been said before too, that receivers would rather you hit them in the head, right? And because if you take out a knee or have a lower leg injury, break a bone, I mean, that's it. That's a wrap on the season. That's potentially a wrap on next season. Because imagine, so Higbee and Hockenson have already gotten their second contracts, but imagine if they were going to be a free agent next offseason. You just literally took money off of their family's dinner table. That's what you did, right? And players will say hit them up high because they're not thinking about long-term CTE concussions and all that stuff. They're thinking, okay, if we have our bell rung, we're out for a couple of plays, we'll go in the medical tent, independent neurologist will put us back out on the field, or we'll clear, if we're out of the game with a concussion, we'll clear in a week or two, and then we're back in. Whereas ACL, out, lengthy rehab, broken bone, out, rehab, all that stuff. So it's tough. And also part of it is, big tight end, itsy bitsy tiny defensive back. So you got a guy who's 6'5", 250, 260, rumbling over the middle with a full head of steam. I mean, if you try to hit him up higher, you're going to get dump trucked, like one of the Bills' defensive backs on Freiermuth early in that game today. But there's a big strike zone. All right, so again, if you're saying, all right, so a big tight end over the middle or like a tall receiver, I mean, there's a big strike zone. Like, it's not binary. Like, it's either you hit him in the head or you hit him in the knee. Like, there's lots of space in between. Now, again, understand, if a defensive back at full speed, and these guys are running 4.4s, 4.5s across the middle in both directions, I mean, there's going to be collisions. And a lot of times you will see a defensive back launch and have a good spot where they got the shoulder, they got the head up, everything is copacetic, everything's textbook, and they're going to strike the receiver in the chest or the abdomen, somewhere in the torso, or maybe even across the knee pads, and then the receiver last second dips his head, initiates contact with the defensive back helmet to helmet, but the DB is the one that's flagged. So, like I said, it's almost freaking impossible to play DB in the league nowadays. But low hits are legal, but just because something's legal doesn't make it not dirty. Also, the difference with Joseph and other defensive backs is like, well, how come other DBs aren't consistently shredding other players' knees? Kerby's body count now is 2 in the last 4 weeks. Well, a part of it is Kerby Joseph and his launch point, as well as he literally lowers his helmet. So I think that he does go lower than other defensive backs, certainly, as well as you look at the head placement. And if you go back and watch some Kerby Joseph film, even back at Illinois and even in past NFL seasons, like, he dips his head, and that's not good. And part of the rules are the lowering the helmet rule, the crown of the helmet rule, is not just to protect offensive players, but it's to protect the safety of the tackler too. Kerby Joseph, do I think Kerby Joseph is dirty? Yes. Do I think that he unfortunately ended the season of Hockenson and also put his offseason as well as the start of 2024 in jeopardy? Yes. Same thing with Higbee. Yes. And also, I know that some people don't like Higbee. That shouldn't cloud your opinion on if this is clean or not. But also, do I want to see something bad happen to Kerby Joseph? Absolutely not. You do not want to see this, and that's the problem here. Where going down a rabbit hole, but eliminating tackling in youth sports, you miss out on some of the formative years of developing the baseline, developing the fundamentals of tackling. You see what you hit. You do not lower your helmet like this because you're putting both parties at risk, especially the tackler too. If Joseph continues to tackle like this, he is one freak accident away from a severe injury, and I don't want to see that with Kerby Joseph. I don't want to see that with anyone, man. But you have to see what you hit. Protect yourself. Otherwise, him lowering his helmet and him going lower than other defensive backs definitely puts offensive players at risk, and it puts him at risk too. Don't want to see that, man. Don't. Like I said, Joseph targets lower than others. So, overall, is there a perfect solution to fix this? No, there isn't, because you don't want to hit players up high because of everything that the league knows now about concussions and CTE, and sometimes you have to protect the players from themselves. But also, if you got a tight end or a big receiver going in over the middle, they shouldn't have to be worried about their ACLs at every single turn, man. So I don't know if anything's going to come out of this. Should Joseph be fined? Yes. Should they potentially even look at suspension or a firm warning that he's put on notice? Yes. You look at Kareem Jackson, where he's been a habitual line stepper. They actually had to suspend him, right? And just taking guys out. Because remember, the Rams were marching at this point, and Higbee is an important part of the passing game for the Rams. And taking out one of their key receivers in this spot where they were trying to march down and kick a game-winning field goal, it impacted the end of the game, right? And in the playoffs, yes, emotions run high, and you got to win a game. But does this come back to Bountygate, where it's like, hey, if you take out one of the opposing team's star players, that increases your chances to win, tacitly or explicitly? So I don't know. But like I said, just try. It's really tough to find a perfect solution here, because the receivers dipping their head. The best laid plans for a DB trying to strike a receiver properly in the chest with a shoulder, and then that gets flagged, and it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. But, absent going to two-hand touch or flag football, you're going to have that. At the end of the day, it is a collision sport, and guys do get hurt. But if you can try and minimize as much as possible, you got to do that. And getting hits like this from Kerby Joseph out of the game, I think is important, man. No. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. What were the hits from Kerby Joseph dirty? ? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.